This is right in my face. Let's get this back. This is a little too close because it's this morning.
Okay. Oh. Okay. You know, it really, I'm still getting psychically ready for this weather. They say that rain is a blessing, but then our people were desert people. If they had come up in Oregon, they would have said the sun is a blessing, right? But it does that sudden change, right?
Yeah.
And,
well, I don't
and
think
it turns it a little more cozy,
I don't think it's sudden. I think suddenly it hits you.
It could be.
You know,
it could be that, yeah.
It's like, oh, it's really here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, thank you all for being here. We're going to begin on page 5, Shalom Aleichem.
I know that one. I'll just sing it.
You need me to teach you that one? Or?
Yeah, it's well, there's so many tunes, actually.
Yeah,
but,
well, there are.
But there's the one that everyone knows, so we'll do that one.
Yes.
For now. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem LeShalom, Malachi Ashalom, Malachi Kadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Thank you, Cantor. Page 11, L'chu Neranana, let us go out and sing. Or stay indoors and sing.
But they came out, they came here. This is what happens. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzuri sheno, nekadma fanav v'toda. Naria, letzuri sheno, bizmiro naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu, lechu, lechu. Lechu neranena, lechu, lechu, lechu neranena, asher ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei haaretz vetoafot haarim lo. Lechu, 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 lechu neranena, oh lechu, 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 lechu neranena, asher lo hayam vehu asahu, veyabeshet yadav yatzaru, bo'u nishtachave v'nichra, nivrecha lifnei Adonai osenu. Lechu, 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 lechu neranena, lechu, 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 לכו נרננה, כי הוא אלוהינו, ואנחנו אמר איתו, וצאן ידו, היום אם בקולו תשמעו, לכו לכו לכו, לכו נרננה, לכו לכו לכו, לכו נרננה, אל תגשו לבבכם כי מריבה, כיום מסע במדבר, אשר ניסוני אבותיכם, בחנוני גם ראו פועלי, לכו לכו לכו, לכו נרננה, או לכו לכו לכו, לכו נרננה. 40 שנה כוד בדור, ואמרמתו אל לבבהם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי באפי, אם יבואו אל מנוחתי.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cantor. On 21, we're going to turn to Ms. Moore, Le David.
Now, I will be doing a different tune. Let's do it differently. The marching one. Yeah, okay, that one. מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, ישתחוו לאדוני בהדר הקודש, כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד ירים, אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון, וסריון כמו בן רמים. כל אדוני חוצב לעבוד אש, כל אדוני יכין מדבר, יכין אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יחולל איילות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות. כה אדוני למבול ישב, פשט אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, את עמו, את עמו, את עמו בשלום.
You know, it is so funny, particularly there are people who've been, I mean, we were laying to rest Gary Weinstein,
Yeah.
the third generation Neve congregant, right? And so there's certain people, when you talked about a different melody, right? But it really depends on where you come from. That melody is the one I grew up with.
Yes, likewise.
Uh-huh.
I grew up with two melodies, and more than two, but two main melodies, and one was this Ashkenazi other one that you don't know, that we don't sing here, very choral, and the other one was this one. And I grew up thinking it was like a Sephardic one, but someone else told me it was Ashkenazi French, but I don't know.
Oh.
Either way, it's traditional.
It is traditional, and certainly in my Ashkenazic upbringing, it was what we had. So on page 23, we'll begin with Lecha Dodi, the first two stanzas, and the last.
And one last note about
Yeah,
that
the
one.
previous,
When we have that, it sounds like a march. Da 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 dum dum da ding dum dum, and it's very appropriate when you do a processional. When you take out the Torah, that song is what we sing on Saturday morning, and so we would sing it Saturday evening because that particular tune, because it was a march and we're processional. So sorry.
Thank you, no.
Yep.
Who's that I know you did the
No,
arrangement.
I don't know
but-
who, it's traditional, and we don't know
Okay,
the actual
all right.
composer.
That's one of the wonderful things. The older something is in the Jewish tradition, the less we know about it often, and we'll say it's Sinai, it's from Sinai, and or there's two things, right? Either you don't know, or when we have a bunch of different explanations, you also know that it's very old, right? Like why we bring a stone, a small pebble or something to the cemetery. Nobody knows. And therefore, I could give you 6 different explanations.
Right.
It's one of the things we learned in rabbinical school years ago that is really interesting is the less that a text makes sense, the older it is.
Right.
And I'll let you dwell on that and why that would be. It actually makes a lot of sense, but maybe not for us. It's a little bit unusual. So 23, first 2 stanzas, and the final 2 on 25. Sometimes I tell a little bit of a story about this and the group of Kabbalists in Sfat and Shlomo Alkabetz who wrote this. But these folks were really, really, they would have appreciated the fact that we don't use umbrellas in Portland, even though it rains, for 9 months a year straight. Why do I say that? Because it was in the mountains in the north, and you would get snow there sometimes, and they had an aesthetic element to them, and they would actually roll in the snow, sans clothes, as part of their preparation, right? We have a very sanitized sort of Judaism with sort of narrow practices in a certain sense, and when you dig into the history, it's a little bit more. So they did not do that while singing here, but they would go out to the western hills and watch the sunset as they sang this. So if the weather's ever bothering you, just remember, it could be worse. You could be a mystic in 15th century Sfat.
So I'll be singing Snow Angel at this point. No, I will not. Lecha Dodi, page 23. Lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad yishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lecho v'nelcha ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh v'machshava tchila. Lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה וצולה תוך אמוננו chala, roi chala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach.
Please be seated. Tell us about that last melody.
It's a very, it's probably the best known Israeli melody for Lecha Dodi. Yoram Gaon recorded a bunch of like Sephardic melodies years ago, and they became very popular. And I forget what some of the other ones were, but that one's on. If you look back, well, he has another Igdal that became very well known. That's a very Israelis know that one.
I know too,
it's
but
the one where they don't go to synagogue, but they still know that tune. And I like it because it's very gentle, and it captures as much as that Lecha Dodi has that joy, this sense of like regal beauty, elegant beauty that is in there. And I always think of Conte Partiro. You know that one?
No.
It's a romantic song that Andrea Bocelli sang, and it's I think Sarah Brightman covered it in English. Time to Say Goodbye.
Oh, okay.
But it's a lovely song.
Well, there's this tradition, right, of switching melodies in Lecha Dodi over the last, a long time, really, with it going on. And if you look at the lyrics, right, the whole tenor of Lecha Dodi really shifts, right? It starts out in a place of sort of sadness and loss, and then rouses us to this place of completion and hope and rebirth. So it's appropriate that there are different melodies that go with that. We'll turn now to page 27. This is a psalm dedicated to the Shabbat. And what that means, of course, as some of you know, is that many of the psalms were sung by the Levites in the ancient temple, and they had a psalm of the day. You know how you could, have a special of the day, blue plate special. They had a blue psalm special, if you were, that were, just connected in some way with that theme. And so, again, in the age before watches and smartphones and everything, if you weren't sure what day it was, you would just be able to hear from the melody as you were walking towards Jerusalem, and you would know where it would remind you.
Nice. All right. 27. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai, ולזמר לשמך עליון, טוב להודות לאדוני, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור, כי שימחתני אדוני בפעוליך, במעשה ידיך רענן, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני. בקהים עלי מרעים תשמענה אוזני.
Middle of 28.
צדיק קטר יפרח, כרז בלב שתולים בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינובון בסבע דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד ישר אדוני צורי ולא אבנתה ואדוני מלאך ייעוד לבש. עדותיך נמנו מאוד לביתך עליו הקודש אדוני לאורך ימים.
I hope this talk isn't a little bit too intense, but with exploding ballot boxes, I thought I had to sort of address in some way this human propensity. So this sermon is called Destroy Today for Tomorrow. My college days at NYU were punctuated by the Tompkins Square Park riot in 1988. The park was located in an area of Manhattan called Alphabet City, and this all-hours park had been taken over by drug pushers, homeless people, squatters, and punks, not a derogatory term, people from the punk music movement. And in an effort to bring some order back to the chaos, the city imposed a 1 a.m. curfew, which meant that the park was shutting down 1 hour before last call in a New York bar. Too early. People went nuts. The worst violence occurred on August 6th throughout the nights as the alphabeters attacked the police, who attacked the rioters, who attacked the police. One of the instigators of the riots was a guy named Peter Missing. His anarchist symbol was an upside-down martini glass with 3 strikes, and you may have seen it at some point. In those days, sensible people didn't venture anywhere near Tompkins Square Park, let alone the alphabet blocks of the East Village. But back then, I wasn't so sensible. That's how it came to be that on August 7th, Peter Missing and I met for the first and only time. For a couple of hours, we wandered the streets as he expressed to me all of his rage, his anger, his desire to break things. I guess I listened without judgment because as our walk ended, he thanked me, saying how much I'd helped to calm him down and that he felt much better. Years later, I learned what an important figure he had been, but on that day, we were just 2 New Yorkers sharing a moment on the streets. I haven't thought of this incident in quite some time, but with the upcoming presidential election and the powerful emotions it evokes in so many people, I've been pondering how cycles of destruction and rebirth define human life and, frankly, nature. In our weekly Torah reading, we're presented with not 1, but 3 of these cycles: Noah and the flood, destruction, and renewal. The story of Noah and the flood is familiar virtually to all of us. Humanity had become so wicked, and God had found us so irredeemable that the divine will decided that the best thing for the planet would be to start anew. The flood waters rose, and most life, apart from what was on Noah's ark, was wiped out. This is the first act of destruction in our Parsha, and it's followed by a pristine new beginning. Sort of. One of Noah's very first acts on dry land is to plant vines and get drunk. The Torah intimates that a disturbing act followed. You can ask me afterwards, a little X-rated, suggesting that the destruction Noah witnessed was too much to bear, and his best solution was to drink himself into oblivion. And that, too, is a form of destruction. Here, Noah attempts to obliterate his memory, his moral reasoning, emotional tumult, and sense of self-control. Unlike the first example, this second instance shows us that not all destruction is followed by immediate renewal. It reminds us that sometimes personal destruction is a response to trauma, and finding meaning or rebirth can be elusive. 3, the Tower of Babel, which is a subtle cycle of destruction. So the Tower of Babel story offers another example of destruction with implications for rebirth. Despite being only 9 verses long, it's a potent biblical narrative, serving as both a cautionary tale and a reminder of human potential and limitations. This story is not just about language and confusion. It's a meditation on the dangers of uniformity and the promise of diversity. The opening verse tells us, "And all the earth was of one language and one set of words." This seemingly idyllic unity belies the deeper danger lurking beneath, the uniformity of thought. J.P. Fockelman, the 20th century Dutch biblical scholar, notes that the builders of Babel sought to make a name for themselves, yet the name they are given and receive, according to the Torah, is Babel, meaning something like muddle. Babel, right? It's nonsense speech. And it was a biting judgment against their ambition. Their forced uniformity led not to understanding, but to confusion and unintelligibility. Rabbi Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, in his Ha'emek Davar, explains that the leaders of Babel feared any deviation from their communal mindset. They worried that new ideas or dissent would challenge the established norms. The tower was a watchtower, ensuring compliance, crushing diversity. It is the biblical big brother repressing freedom by limiting thought. Repetition and social control. Rachel Anisfield, who's a contemporary scholar, observed that there are these hypnotic repetitions in the Babel story. Come, let us make bricks. Come, let us build a city. And those repetitions illustrate how sameness can lull us into a waking stupor. And this highlights that destruction is not always dramatic, like the Tompkins Square Park riot. Sometimes it takes a subtle form of groupthink, which can be even more dangerous. Destruction in the symbolic realm, as seen in oppressive uniformity, is as precarious as in the material world. Babel's lessons for modern society. Today, Babel's lessons are more relevant than ever. We know we all live in silos reinforced by algorithms and media that echo our beliefs, nothing new here. But we also know that we crave the comfort of conversations of those who agree with us. Yet the story warns that this comfort can lead to collective blindness. Rabbi Berlin's insight on enforced unity and punishment for dissent echoes in our world where polarization has become the norm. And even when diversity exists, it is often so siloed off that it fails to challenge or enrich us. Destruction as a path to renewal. The builders of Babel, building this beautiful tower, feared that they would be scattered, lest we scatter over the face of all the earth, the Torah says. Ironically, their dispersal became the catalyst for human flourishing, allowing new languages and cultures to emerge. And this reflects our Torah's teaching of 70 paces of the Torah, Shivim Panim LaTorah, that every human being is the face of the Torah, that diversity is actually how you find out what the Torah says. And today we are at risk of reversing that diversity, merging into a conformity that threatens our growth. Destruction is essential for change. As Mae West famously quipped, if you're not changing, you're rotting. But why do we shy away from destruction? Beyond the obvious desire for safety, the Torah suggests that destruction's outcomes are not always predictable. While 2 of the 3 examples in our Parsha lead to renewal, Noah's story of the grapevine reminds us that destruction can also lead to loss, stagnation, and moral decline. When we're stuck in the moment, all we see are flames and broken shards. Yet, these are often the conditions for something new to arise. And as a presidential election approaches, we can't predict the outcomes or any potential unrest it may bring. However, knowing that destruction can precede renewal helps me settle my mind a little. So let us hope and pray that the coming weeks will be peaceful. Yet, should peace elude us, may the upheaval at least serve as the portent and harbinger of the rebirth our nation so desperately needs. Vote early and often, everyone. We'll rise on page 39.
ברכו את אדוני מבורך.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
Please be seated.
אדוני מלך העולם. ומעביר יום מביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המריב הרבים.
And because destruction is so undermining, there's also eternal love, right? Which is the fabric, the glue that holds us together even when things are dark. And Ahavat Olam is a reminder of that timeless love.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך נשיח בחוקיך תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו והם נגי יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל
Shema on 41.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך וכל נפשך וכל מאודיך. דברים האלה יש לכם יום לאהבה. והיה עם שמות יש מעוצתי שאנוכי, זה מתחילים יום לאהבה. ושמתם דברי אלה.
למען יבואיכם ומבניכם על מה? ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור.
ויאמר אדוני לאמור דבר בני ישראל מתי והיה לכם ציצית. זמן תזכרו. Adonai Elohechem
Speaking of water, rain, and Noah's flood, we're going to take a quick march over to Yam Suf, the Sea of Reeds, on page 44, as we've crossed the sea, and Miriam and the ladies dance with their timbrels, singing Micha Mocha.
And because I want to do this Moroccan melody, it just starts 2 lines before, but it's a little complicated. I'll just do it. V'ra'u v'anav gevurato shibechu ve'odu lishmo u'malchuto ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לחנו ושירה שמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אל מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה זה ליאנו ואמרו אדוני נוח לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל.
For those of you who grew up sort of when I did, we're going to get a little bit of XTC or Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears.
I always make that mistake a little bit, just for a moment. For It's a Mad World is the melody, but I think it's always really interesting. That's a little bit of giveaway. It's sometimes really hard when you change the words that a melody belongs with. It breaks off some of those connections, and it gets a new meaning. And a long time ago, I told this story. a bunch of Hasids saw their Hasidic rabbi singing a German march song. And they were like really upset, like, what, this is completely secular and militaristic, and you've been singing it for like an hour and a half. And he said, I am purging it of all of its associations so we can use it for holiness. And I think, I think that, right, that when we reapply a melody to a song, it has connotations to the original, but also it takes on something new.
I will say, though, I've heard several congregants say, I was at the airport, I was at a restaurant, and they were playing Hashkivenu. Is it a ski shop? Page 45.
Now you know why. Not really.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Leshalom Ve'amidenu Malkenu Lechaim, Lechaim Ufros Alenu Sukat Shelomecha, Shelomecha, Shelomecha ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, מלפניך והושיענו למען שמך והגן בעדנו והסר מעלינו אויב דבר וחרב ורע ויגון נשכיבנו לשלום, שלום והסר שטן מלפנינו, לפנינו, לפנינו ומאחרינו, אחרינו, אחרינו, אחרינו ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, תסתירנו, תסתירנו כי אלה שומרנו, שומרנו, שומרנו מצילנו אתה כי אל המלך חנון ורחום אתה השכיבנו, השכיבנו לשלום, שלום ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
We rise Vishamru 46.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל לא תהיה לעולם ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבה ויהי נפש יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה גלמדי ורק ירותה וימליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן יש מרבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמח תקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושפכתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה וימהרו Amen.
So the private Amidah begins on page 47 through 52. It is Rosh Chodesh, and we'll be having Hallel tomorrow. So when you get to that section for the new month, you can include that also if you're praying out of the Siddur. And if not, just pray from your heart in a way that feels connected. Chodesh was
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
It is our third Simcha Shabbat in this new series, in which we take a moment or two out of our service, not out of the service, in which we add to our service a moment to celebrate those who have a birthday in the best month of the year, or an anniversary, or some other happy occasion. So if you do have a birthday in November, would you come up, please, by Cantor and me? And if you have an anniversary, please come up. And if you got a new pet any year during a November, come on up.
No, you won't be doing that.
People have heard me. If there's one thing I want to leave people with, it's this saying from my grandfather, right? That in life, the tsuris chases you, the hardship, so you've got to chase the simchas, right? Right? The bad stuff just happens, but you can, I don't feel like going out to that concert tonight. Whatever it is, no, we got to celebrate. And so, Scorpio or Sagittarius? Okay, a little bit of both. Okay, excellent. Scorpio.
Who's got a birthday? Raise your hand. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Wait,
Cantor.
Yeah. You too?
Yeah, me too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Speech. No, you already did that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So, Cantor is going to sing a beautiful musical rendition of the Birkat Kohanim for us.
Shalom, ken yehi ratzon.
And we now will bless everyone up here with the English translation. I'll say the line in English and ask you to repeat, so may be God's will, Ken Yehi Ratzon, at the end of each of those. May Adonai bless and protect you. May Adonai's countenance shine upon you, and may Adonai bestow kindness upon you. May Adonai's countenance be lifted toward you, and may Adonai grant you peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon. And I do want to say that as a November baby also, I always feel like Sagittarius and Scorpios, we're these transition kids, right? Because we're moving from summer into winter, and we're right sort of in between as the light changes, as the weather changes, and it is a time both of darkness but also of rebirth. And so I hope that this, as we move into the more inward time of late autumn and then into the new year, that it'll be a year of blessing and happiness, and to 120, as we say, or as long as you want to live.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Mazel tov.
Thank you, thank you. You guys can have a seat, ladies may have a seat again, and will continue now with Kaddish Shalom on page 54.
יתגדל וקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דיברה קילותי וניח מלכותי בחייכון ובמכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב מרו, אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך, לעלם לעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא ומרו, אמן. תתקבל סוטאון ובתון דכל ישראל, קודם אבוהון דבשניה אמרו, אמן. יהא שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל אמרו, אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל וכל יושבי תבל, ואמרו, אמן.
We'll rise for Kiddush, page 55. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'atzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen.
It's a fantastic vintage of grape juice in honor of our birthdays. Last week. Well, it may be pressed in November. I'm not really sure. We'll remain standing, though, for Aleinu on page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שתשמש דרץ. אין עוד על כנה אחד מאלוהינו. כי המלכות שלך היא עומדת למלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated unless you are in a period of mourning or observing a yard site, and I'll just go around the room, and if you would be kind enough to mention the name of the person for whom you're reciting Kaddish and the person's relationship to you. You don't have to, but I encourage you to. I don't know what other traditions have something like this, but just so we get to be together when we remember and recall it, there's some warmth to it and a sense that dispels a little bit of the loneliness we can sometimes feel at these times. So knowing that we're in this together, we'll join for the Kaddish, and you can find that on page 58. Yit gadal v'yit gadash shemeh rabah v'yalmad divra krutei v'yamlich machutei b'chayechon v'yamechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agalah v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yittadar v'yitaler v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu Eila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiram bi'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'ramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol Yosvei tevel v'yimru amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places bring some of the peace and comfort that comes as we recall with fondness and with the warmth of memory those who are not with us. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Cantor, for lending us your voice and leading us and guiding us. We will conclude this part of the service on 62 with the Yigdal. Then Cantor will break bread. And as I said at one other of these things, like Marie Antoinette, if you're not going to have any bread, let them have cake. There's some cake to celebrate Simcha Shabbat outside after the service.
Yes. All right. I mentioned that I would do Yoram Gaon. That he, Yoram Gaon did that, he did Lecha Dodi. And he also made this one pretty popular, so I'll do this one for Igdal. Igdal Elohim Chai. Wrong key. Igdal Elohim Chai Ve'ishtabach נמצא בנטל מציאותו אחד בן יחיד כייחודו נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף לא נערוך אליו קדושתו קדמו לכל דבר אשר נברא ראשון בין ראשית לראשיתו הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר יורה גדולתו ומלכותו שפע נבואתו לטל נואל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד נביא ומביט את תמונתו תורת אמת נתן לעמואל על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו לא יחל יפעל ולא ימיר דתו לעולמים לזולתו צופה ויודע סתרנו מבין לסוף דבר בקדמתו גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו נותן לרשע רע כרישתו ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו לבדון מחכה קץ ישועתו מתים יחייל ברוב חסד
Asto Baruch Adei Hashem Teilato.
And while Cantor puts his guitar down and gets ready to break bread for us, I want to share a couple of announcements, prefaced by a story, it's again from the Hasidic world because they have the best stories. Somebody, says, do you know Shmuel? And it's like, yeah, I know Shmuel. It's like, well, what's bothering Shmuel? I don't know. How can you know Shmuel if you don't know what his worries are? So why am I telling you this? Lisa Richmond has done a really nice job at creating some of the highlights of, we have too many things to ever share in the announcements, but for the Tikkun Olam JFCS Thanksgiving Box Collection, we are collecting through November 21st Princella sweet potatoes. And here is, if you want to know about Lisa, we need 150 cans, and I'm already worried. Goes to support Holocaust survivors, individuals with disabilities, and so much else. And that is Lisa summed up, right? That concern that we won't be able to do enough good and be able to provide for those in need. So if you're shopping, pick up a 29-ounce can of Princella sweet potatoes, drop it off, and you'll make many people's Thanksgivings a little bit better, and that's fantastic. Veteran Flag Planting Day, Neve Tzedek, November 8th, 10 a.m. Then at Avai Shalom, November 10th at 10 a.m. We have our first of a drop-in grief group. It's going to be led by rotating clergy selection, and I'll be at this first one November 6th at 7 p.m. And lots of other things happening. So stay tuned, check your email, and
come to my
November
14th
yes.
on whatever day that is, November 14th.
It was on here. Jewish Hitmakers, Thursday, November 14th.
Thursday. So it's called Jewish Hitmakers, the people who wrote the pop hits, the Jewish composers who wrote pop hits, whether they're by Cher, older stuff or newer stuff. Newer is 1990s for me. Come on, and it'll be fun. All right. What? Registered. Thank you.
Amen.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Simcha Shabbat. Hey, Simcha Shabbat. Hey, Simcha, 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 Simcha Shabbat. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Please grab some challah or some cake, and happy birthday to our birthday folks.
Happy birthday in advance. When is it? What's the date? What, 19? 18. Oh.
I know I had to wait a year to get it.
All right.
Well, yeah, but in the narrative, it's like that. I get to.
Yes. Yeah. What?
Like the botrytis stuff.
I see it.